Sup, people? Casual Talk here. Yeah, like the title says, my wife and I decided that it's best to move back to New York City, or just New York State in general. Not move back directly to the city, but move close to the city where we're still out of the city. Reason being is because I brought this up before. South Carolina sucks. My wife just hates it here, man. Even though there's places to go and things to do, this state is not for us. I'm used to the hustle and bustle. She's used to the hustle and bustle, but of course there's a time and place where whenever you're done with the crowd, you can go back home to your space. It's peaceful, it's quiet. You could get the best of both worlds. You could get the urban city living, and when you're done with that, you could go back home to your suburban lifestyle, your suburban house, suburban area. Maybe live by a lake, have a few acres, and keep going on with life. Just keep going on with life. That's the way I want to live. And that's one of my goals. I'm working on becoming debt-free. And by the grace of God, everything works out next year. I have a lot more money to save up. I got my new job to look forward to. God is good. And I got a lot of things that I wish to blossom, that I wish to grow, to get out from. Certain struggles that I got in life. God has a way of humbling us and showing us that I can do it, and I could give you more, I could bless you with more. You have to lean on me, and you have to believe in me and have faith in me. So many people, when they have a lot of problems, they run to their family, friends, people, the internet especially, but you have to look down to God. You have to be patient and cry out to God. The reason why I'm saying that is that a lot of people in general can be haters, and there's a lot of people that can be very judgmental, arrogant, ignorant, and they can be very negative. One job that I had when I used to work at the Charleston International Airport, a few years ago, I was living in an apartment before I ended up moving into a single family home to rent. I gave him my 2 weeks, and I let my coworkers know, and everyone started to know, like, hell, he's leaving within 2 weeks. You should have seen the looks on people's faces. Go figure. Welcome to America. Welcome to real life. It's not just America. There's haters and jealousy everywhere. Human beings is full of all sorts of emotions and attitudes and triggers. There was a few people that did not like that I was moving to New York, back to New York. At the time, this was me and my wife's plan before we changed our minds. And they didn't like the fact that I was leaving the job. It was an okay job, but I was ready to go and move on. My wife and I, we decided to change our minds the last minute and just move into a single family home down here in South Carolina because, for one, the cost of moving costs a lot of money. It cost us a lot of money. You have to pay for a U-Haul. We didn't do moving company. We did a U-Haul. We got some family members involved. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, and it's time consuming. So, long story short, going forward, we decided to just, hey, it's best that we get ourselves together while we're down here, save our money while we're down here, take advantage of South Carolina and what South Carolina got to offer, and take it from there. By the grace of God, a few years after, I found out that Trident Tech, which is a community college in South Carolina, Trident Technical Community College was offering free tuitions from 2022 to 2024. All free, 100% free school, and guaranteed. I went down this route. I got accepted into the school, and by the grace of God, I'm able to get by with the student refund. So basically, whatever money back that the government has after paying off, paying for your classes and etc., right? You can use that for any course materials, books. And a lot of the times, a lot of college students, they could use that as their living expenses to pay for their food on campus, to pay for their transportation while on campus, while they're away from home. And in my case, I'm using that to invest in myself, my family, and my business, and the things that I need to do to get myself out of credit card debt. And I just owe a lot in the credit card debt, you know. Not too long ago, I had to get one of my cars repossessed because I couldn't afford the payments. See, there's no point in being in more debt when you're already in debt. There's no point in doing that. You're killing yourself. See, Americans think that it should be normalized for everyone to be in some type of debt. Sure, things may pop up, things may happen, but it's better to have a lot more money saved up for a rainy day than to be sucked up dry from debt and not have much saved up. Scholarships and federal Pell Grants can help you pay off your student loan debt. There's debt forgiveness programs. And it also depends on the individual. It also depends on the job that you go to with the value of the degree. Just like, for example, you get an associate's degree as a registered nurse. You work for an organization or that's under a hospital where they offer debt forgiveness if you work for these amount of years. You take that instead of some type of work, benefits, reimbursement, sign-on bonus. The sign-on bonus is that they pay off your debt completely after you work 2 to 3 years. That's an example. Who wouldn't take that? A lot of people would take that. I know I would. That's the smartest thing to do. See, just going back to the title of the video, I'm thinking about moving back to New York and to live by New York City, for one, because most of my family lives in the city. 2, regardless of how expensive it is, I understand that. That's the reason why I said I'm getting myself together down here in South Carolina first, because there was a time I even made a Reddit post where I was asking people for advice on moving, because I was thinking, my wife and I was thinking about California at one time, and then there was this one particular woman that was on Reddit. She said that that it's the wisest thing to do. Stay where you're at, focus on what you got going on, get yourself together, get your degree, certification, and then move. That is the smartest thing to do, because too many people out here are moving without a plan, without any money, and they don't got much in their pockets. What is the point in moving when you don't got nothing to offer? I see so many stupid YouTubers. No disrespect. I respect the hustle. I respect the people that is risk takers, but you can't be stupid and risky at the exact same time, and you got nothing to back off of. You got nothing. No, barely have any job experience. You're in a lot of debt. Oh, I got $3,000. Oh, I moved to California with just $1,000. I moved to California with just $10. I seen these videos on YouTube, and you guys should know exactly what I'm talking about. There's people on YouTube that does anything for views. They do anything for views. They make these videos to try to clickbait an audience just to get viewers to actually listen to their story. And then next thing you know, a few months later or years later, it probably don't even work out. I've witnessed countless of YouTubers videos I've used to watch. One YouTuber in particular, I forgot her freaking name, and I don't care for her. She made one of the dumbest decisions. She moved to California without no job, no degree. She just had job experiences, and she barely had anything, and she's by herself. I understand if you're by yourself, but it's still stupid because she said so many people around her were leaving California. And what part of California was she at? I think it was Los Angeles. So many people, so many of her friends she just made, months later, years later, left because it was too expensive. It's not just the expenses. You could afford to go where you qualify for. For example, if you're a doctor, you could work in a lot of places in the United States, and you could still make a lot of money. You're a registered nurse, not just a registered nurse, with 5 years, 3 years of experience, the right certifications, recognition, professional references. You could go very far. You could go very far. And the equivalent of making 25 or 30 an hour in one state is the same thing as being in a state where you get paid $40 to $50 an hour. You're still spending about the exact same amount of money and saving about the exact same amount of money, depending on the cost of the area, the cost of living, your lifestyle, if you're in debt or not. It's all on you as well in the end of the day. Oh, the taxes is high in New York. It depends on the county that you live in. The county that my wife and I was looking into was Westchester County. It's a suburban area, county in New York. Smartest thing to do is to buy a house out there. And before we do that, of course, we're going to rent a property, rent a single family home. Make sure we got ourselves together. Make sure we got our career in check. That's my plan. We'll be having our careers by then while we're in New York. Take our time for those years the year that we're renting at that single family home to buy a house, move out, settle down there, and live a better quality of life. I'm going where the money is, and I'm being smart about this because we've been away from family for so long. Sure, sometimes it may be lonely, and I talked a lot of crap about my family, but not all the people in my family are bad. It's just a lot of them that are very obnoxious, arrogant, high-mighty, narcissism, full of crap. Those family members I stay away from. The family members that are very toxic. I still got my mom that lives in New York, in the city. I still got some of my sisters that lives in the city. My nephews. I still keep in contact with them, but it's just I miss that. And also in South Carolina, it's heavily car dependent. I made this video many times before on why I hate South Carolina. There's barely any Ubers out here. Lack of transportation. This transportation down here sucks. There's no train services. There's no bus services. There's places and things to do in South Carolina. It's just a drive away. You have to make the drive, and you have to have a car. And if you don't have a car, you're screwed. You're at the mercy of other people. You're at the mercy of the car dealerships. At least if I was in New York, and the time I was in New York, I didn't need a car. I could get by a train. Even though I plan to look into moving into Westchester County, New York. Even if I have a car, they still have an MTA service and transportation available within the Westchester County. that could take you from parts of Westchester County to New York City, like Manhattan, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens. Those are the common boroughs that I could think of. Because I would always hang around Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens. Those are my top 3 boroughs to always hang around at. There's malls, there's things to do. The bodegas is right there. Everything is a walk away. There's so much to do in New York. It's convenient. It's convenient. And that's the reason why, just like with California, it could be convenient, even though you would need a car. And they have some transportation, but it's not, to me, in my opinion, from my research, it's not as good as New York's. New York City is top of the line. It's just the problem is a lot of people cannot afford it. 2 heads is better than 1. My wife is in nursing school. I'm also in school to work in the OR, the operation room. Operation room, hospital. I'm looking into working in the hospital just like my wife. What I want to do in the OR for my goals is to get my certification as a sterile processing tech and get my associate's or degree and becoming a surgical technologist. Because a surgical technologist is basically the next level of a sterile processing tech. The sterile processing tech is basically an entry-level position within the OR. One of them at least. Surgical technologist, you work inside the operation room with the nurses and the doctors and the techs. It's more hands-on. You're seeing the operations being performed on a person that's on anesthesia. I'm used to this. I'm already an EVS technician at the hospital that I currently work at in South Carolina. Sure, why not? I'm going where the money is. I'm thinking outside the box. I'm using my brain, people. I already know New York is expensive, but to me, it's worth it. Even though there's competition, it motivates me. And I'm confident that I could find something and land something because they need workers. There's a shortage of nurses in many places, even in New York. There's a shortage of surgical technologists or surgical techs and sterile processing technicians. I know where to go and I know where the money's at, and I'm going to do what I got to do. Okay? Point blank. Go where you're celebrated, go where you're appreciated, go where you could flourish, and go where it could benefit you in the long run. Especially if you have a family, guys. Especially if you have a family. So this is the main reason why, and all the things that I mentioned on the reasons why I want to move back to New York, and just in New York State in general. Family, there's a lot of things to do. Be close to the city at the same time. Live in a suburban area in Westchester County. I'm doing what I gotta do. I'm gonna keep you guys updated and take things from there. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. This is Casual Talk here. Peace out. Let me know what you think.